Actually, I just clicked the button. We're live now.
Okay,
That's
good.
a getting started screen that nobody saw, but we did it. It is
Yes.
what it is.
Yes. Oh, it's got this like yeah.
What's up? You
Cool.
see some weird stuff?
Good to see
Everything
it.
good?
No, just kind of mirrored. I'm used to the other way, I think, in Zoom.
Oh, yeah. Camera settings and all. So we
Yeah.
are actually live, so watching us, which is very cool. So
Great.
welcome everyone. We value every viewer. So we have a whole bunch of tools in this live streaming setup. So if you have a question or a comment, you can put it in, and then I can actually do this. Hey Patrick, what's up? Oh look, we have more peoples. Hello Alex, hello Pat. What's up? Thank you for watching us. This is the first time Seth and I are doing this. So Seth, how was your week? Ready to rock?
Oh, week's been great. Yeah. Making
Awesome.
a lot of progress on some work here on my side, and just saw a demo of the demo.
A demo of the
So that
demo.
was,
There we go.
yeah, it's like meta. You don't get much more meta than that. But
Exactly.
no, yeah, it's been really good. We got this new
Nice.
marketing engineering team that we're working with, and it's a good. We're all getting into a good groove, so I'm pretty
Awesome.
stoked.
I like that.
Yeah,
So yesterday night, I felt like I needed to do something with Cloudinary because I really like images and video and stuff like that. And so we had this live stream plan to kind of just talk about uniform. And then I thought, I built this thing last night. How about I just show you what I did? You either
yeah,
critique it or you're telling me, dude, what did you do? Or
yeah,
anything goes, right? And so maybe
yep.
while I show what I do, we can also talk about what uniform is because this is the first live stream we've done in a good while. And we're featuring BigCommerce today. We're featuring Cloudinary, a little bit of Contentful, and of course also uniform. And so,
Yep.
how about I share my screen and show you what I've built? Or, well,
Yeah.
let's see. I think
Show me what you broke, man.
let's see. Well, right now, this is what I've built. This is
Yep.
where we're at, but
Looks
we'll
about
get
right.
there. So this is basically just let's see. It is running locally for the moment, and it just couldn't find our canvas composition because I haven't made it yet because I removed everything so I can show you today. And so basically, I want to show you what I built. And what I did was I had a meeting with Cloudinary because I've worked with them quite often for quite a lot. So we have regular meetings just chatting about stuff. And they said, "Hey, we have this shoppable video thing and lots of our customers like to have shoppable video because let's say they had a fashion show or they had like
Mm,
a model working in a full outfit and you wanted to kind of like highlight the things that they are wearing in the video and then you can just be inspired and click and buy." And then I thought, hey, but we have integrations with Cloudinary, we have integrations with a commerce engine like BigCommerce. Why don't I just kind of build like a system to do this shoppable video? And I'll show you what the shoppable video looks like. So basically, they have like a Cloudinary video player that plays videos from their cloud, right? And
hmm
now they also have some other stuff where it's more interactive and it can just live stream things. You can also add products to it. And so I thought, why don't I just make this whole experience? Look, there's the product here,
Yeah.
right? And so it highlights which one it's showing at that point in time. You can even like hover, you see it's highlighted here. And I think you
Yep.
can also just go here and then go back in the video and see a little sunglasses tooltip. This is
Wow.
pretty cool,
Nice.
right?
Yeah.
And so what I felt like I had to do is I just make a composition in uniform and then basically from the composition go to this JSON, render the video player and see what happens. And it worked. So there you go.
Done.
So let's go to Canvas. And Seth, feel free to ask me anything while I do this because
I
this
will.
is kind of ghetto, but it works.
I will.
So in my component library, I made a little hero component just to fill the page out with some fun content from Contentful. And then I made a shoppable video component that can contain chapters and hotspots.
Okay.
So basically, shoppable video just there's not that much to it. It has a Cloudinary video that you select, and it has like a little call to action link that says "Let's shop," stuff like that.
Sure.
And it holds chapters. So a chapter is, let's let it load. There we go. Has a whole bunch of things. It has a title. It has a BigCommerce product connected to it. It has a Cloudinary image. And then, where in the video does this thing pop up and what happens when I click on it? And then also inside, we can actually add these hotspots that have an X and a Y value based on where you want to put it in the video. And then there's also a URL there. So when you click on the hotspot, you go somewhere. So,
well, how do you control that? Like the XY, you would think that it would be constantly moving, right? In the video.
And so I think it's slightly limited in their system where you basically say, show the hotspot at this point in time. You cannot actually say how long it's shown. And so you can get one hotspot at a certain second or minute, point.
Yeah.
So we'll just add it in and we see, because there's probably a couple of variables that you can add in that changes that. And when I show you the code here, we'll go there in a sec, and then we'll see how that was done. But let's first just create a page. And we call it landing because that's what I used in my code. Okay. And so the page itself has nothing, but the slug needs to be landing. Okay, so let's first add a hero. Why not? Because we like to do these things, like a bit of extra content, right? And so we just go, I just connected this to this Contentful of my personal website. So let's just, just whatever, this guy. And here, let's add an image from Cloudinary. And this is the integration we have with Cloudinary. As you can see, it's a little bit more rich. You can actually have their whole media library in here. So let's just get some Lego bricks. Why not?
Yeah, I love Lego.
Yeah, we do like Legos. Let's save and publish this, and let's have a look what this looks like. Okay, saving takes a second. Wow. This is the demo effect. Oh, guys, wait one sec. We have our lovely colleague, William, who just joined us. Dude, what's up?
Hi.
I
hey,
thought
William.
you were traveling.
Yeah, hi.
How about that?
I'm currently in Poland, in Krakow.
Oh, and you still joined the stream. That's what we like to see. Awesome.
Thank
you so much for joining.
Blending in with your wallpaper back there with that shirt. I like it.
Yeah, it fits, man. Color coordinated.
Only rules.
So, for
how's
the
it
people
going?
watching, introduce yourself.
Oh, yeah, I'm William. I am a technical product manager by day, and at night I just make magic, write some code.
Make magic. That's the word we want to hear. Like we even got this comment. How about that? Mind is blown. I love it. Thank you, Pat.
I just do stuff but mostly around developer advocacy, writing software and also creating technical content. So writing technical blog posts and articles.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So thank you for joining our stream. You are a little bit newer to Uniform than Seth is, even though he's also still quite fresh. So what you see here, feel free to comment and say, hey, isn't that strange? Or maybe, hey, that's awesome, whatever you want. And then with that, we build up to what I've done. And so I've just gone over what kind of components I've done and what I want to be building, which is a shoppable video with Cloudinary.
Okay.
Let me just start by building that thing that we just led up to. So we can add a shoppable video component. And so this component has a Cloudinary video item and a call to action. And inside, we can actually add a bunch of chapters and products to make that shoppable. So let's add a Cloudinary media item. And I already uploaded this same video as they have on their demo, so we're safe. Right? I'm not going to do some copyright infringement here.
Okay.
That would be kind of silly. So we just had this little video here and just say, how about that? Shoppable Uniform and BigCommerce. I have to spell it right. And so now we just have a simple video on the page. Sorry. Let's add some chapters. So I have a chapter that fits in this slot, and let's call it sunglasses. And so I haven't actually done this yet. I wish I did, but didn't have time. So inside BigCommerce, I don't actually have. Well, maybe I have sunglasses. Oh, we don't have sunglasses in our system here. But what we can do is just find one of the products I added, like fake Tim products, like Nuxt 101, because I like Nuxt. Let's add this one in. So now what we've done, we have selected a product in BigCommerce, and we have a title for our chapter. And let's add an image that Cloudinary will show when that chapter hits. And then I actually have a shoppable thing here. Yeah, there's the sunglasses. And then we have a whole bunch of things we can do here. So when do we want to show these sunglasses? Probably at I think at 4 seconds, and end them at 7. We'll fine tune this as we go along.
Yeah, this to me seems like the hardest part is how do you dial into the specific part of the video, and how do you accommodate the movement?
Yeah, and I think the way to do this is maybe just publish it, or at least, well, maybe go to preview or something. In my case now, it's even localhost. Just run the thing and see if it works, and then you just update these times until it's nice. And you have
is that what their documentation kind of says, or does it just leave it out and you got to figure it out?
There's nothing much there, to be fair. It works, and that's it.
Yeah.
So they just say these are the models you can use to add hotspots and videos and products and things like that, and then you figure it out yourself. So
Gotcha.
Maybe we can find sunglasses. Oh, maybe not with an F. It's just normally, of course, you would have a product page yourself that has a BigCommerce product on it, right? But we don't have I haven't that built. That's not built yet. So how about we just go and grab some sunglasses that we just linked to? Normally, this would be a little bit more integrated. And so let's also add a hotspot. And so that's interesting, right? Now, to show when that hotspot shows, I'm just going to do it at the same time as this chapter starts at 4 seconds, but I have to do it now like this.
What is a hotspot?
Rather than just type 4. This is Cloudinary spec. I don't know. It's really fun.
So William's asking what's a hotspot, right? So show him the shoppable video sample. Show him the original sample you showed at the beginning.
Oh, yes, of course. You can now see me struggling with my new fancy clicky keyboard where I just have fat fingers still. Anyway, so this is the shoppable. Yeah, we're working with it. I like it though. So basically here, so when you hit play here, you can see it's now currently on the video, on the sunglasses. Now it's the dress, and now you see it's that bag, so it highlights it. When I click this here, you actually go and see this little hotspot.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. And then you can click on that and go somewhere, basically.
Oh yeah, I've used shoppable video in Cloudinary before. I just wanted to be sure you meant the same thing.
Sorry, I didn't understand the last bit.
Yeah, I just wanted to be sure this is Cloudinary specific lingo.
This is very specific Cloudinary lingo, exactly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is not words I made up. The thing is, I made it call chapters, but I think Cloudinary calls it product. So I probably have to change that.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's add one. And so let's do it just in the center for now. So these are just percentages. And just beware, I built this in 4 hours, of which 3 hours was literally trying to get the video player to work. So the rest, all the stuff that you see with Uniform is about an hour. So it's quite janky. But that doesn't matter, right? Just building stuff and talking about it.
That's right. That's right.
Exactly. So let's put this in the bottom and let's go to that same thing. Okay. Let's save this guy. And I'm getting a message. Let me quickly check. Okay. All good. So let's refresh and see if we now have that player. Yes, we do. I have zoomed in a bit, so that's kind of... Oh, that's still small. There might be an issue here. or maybe not. Let's see. Because before it was showing a bit bigger. There we go. Don't know what that
What did you
was.
do?
But
What did you do there?
just I don't know what this Cloudinary video player is giving me now, but
Is it responsive by default? It has to be.
yeah, let me check. I think you can get say fluid is true or something like that.
Yeah.
Say.
And Tim, do you ever use the mobile view in the little icons?
Oh, you mean this?
Yeah.
Not really. I don't know why.
I tend to like that because it allows me to kind of
you have a bit more control here, right? Yeah.
That
exactly.
right toolbar, yeah.
Okay, so we added this Shop with Uniform and BigCommerce. That's cool. And here we have our sunglasses. So let's see if we play it when it gets highlighted. 4 seconds. There you go. And then at 6 seconds, it goes away again. That works. And so when I click it now, there's the hotspot. It's a bit of an awkward position. Right? Let's see where this hotspot should be. We'll have to check. Actually, it should be at 5 seconds or 5.5 or something. How about we just do this and make this also start at 5? By the way, I'm also clicking publish now because in my code, I didn't actually say only look at draft. I just didn't code anything. I just literally just went very fast. Here we go. My internet is not super happy, as you can see. It's waiting for Cloudinary to load now.
You can see in the bar down, you can see the 4 and the 7. Like it looked like they showed the start and stop.
All right, let's see. When I click on it, okay, so now if we change the position, it would work. Right, so that's pretty cool. And so now when I click this, oh, I know why it doesn't on hover. Oh, it shows you the next 101 now. But it's because I'm doing this responsive thing that there's no proper hover. Like, okay, now it's desktop, now there's proper hover.
Yeah.
And that next 101 is actually this BigCommerce product here.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not showing up now. Something is, there we go. And so, of course, normally you would have a link for that. And that's what you put in here. Right now, we just put some other link because we have to be a bit flexible. But that's kind of the gist of it. And if you want, you can just make another hotspot or another chapter. But let's call that dress. Let's do that about tips and tricks, about something.
About buying dresses.
Yeah, exactly. All good. There's the dress. But when do we want to start that dress? 7 seconds, I guess. And so how about now we don't do a seek in video, but just directly go to the product. And let's just copy that same URL just for, ease of use.
So what's the difference between go to product and seek in video? Show the
so this is what I've read here, what they offer you. And so basically, let's refresh and get what we have. So now when I basically click on this one, it will just seek in the video to 5 seconds.
Wow, nice. Yeah. So you can just skip ahead to the product you want.
Yeah, and if it's just a click go to product, what it should do, but it's not showing up here, it could be just my crappy code. Then what it would do is actually just go to that URL.
Sure.
I don't know why it's not showing.
You published, right?
Wait, I probably didn't publish. That's just my bad because I should change that in the code. You see, that's why we do this together. I need you guys. All right, let's see.
This is just mind-blowing stuff. I'm just thinking of the capabilities of this.
Yeah.
Well,
for sure.
If it actually worked, but there it is. It just took some time to render the image. So okay, let's see. So when I click on the glasses, it seeks in the video to the glasses. But then actually, let's wait for when it's dress time. Yeah, so it's highlighted now because it's looking at it.
Yep.
And when I click, directly goes
Nice.
to that product page. And I think even when we reach the end, it turned on that setting. Oh, like in the Cloudinary video, it actually shows these three here at the end still. And I think there's some properties that they're setting here. I'm not even sure if I did these. There, show post player overlay true. Like there's a couple of variables you can set that I didn't really integrate with. But the fact that you can do this is not really what you expect normally from like page composition like stuff. But like, why not do this, right? Because let's say this is now our shoppable video. We're very happy with it. I could just say, make this a pattern and call it. And now everybody can use that shoppable video anywhere that fits.
Yep.
Right? If I now made a new composition, I just put this thing in, and these are our hotspots and all the other stuff that we're dealing with. And so now if you have this on 6 pages, you just go to the pattern where it's defined, and there you edit it, and it works everywhere. And so this is kind of another way. Sorry, go on.
I was going to say, in real world scenario, you would keep those blank, right? You would keep the chapter and hotspots blank.
It depends what you want to do, because these chapters and hotspots fit to this video very specifically, right? So you could say, I just make one that I put everywhere in the pattern, or you don't. You don't have to make this a pattern. You can also just do it from scratch every time if you want to do something else, right? So this is now like a little unit that we made, and like we can now go on and configure some. Like, see, now you have a pattern here, and you can just put that in, and now it puts everything in, and now you have it twice. Well, of course you won't do that. But this is kind of a nice way to content edit, because I've not integrated with BigCommerce at all. I've not really integrated with Cloudinary, at least not in my code. This was just something I could click together. However, the magic, of course, happens when you code something. So this actually becomes something that works. So before I dive in how I coded that, did you guys have some other remarks or questions, or you maybe want me to try something else?
I wanted to find out if shoppable video is a specific component in Mesh, like in integration with Cloudinary. What other components are there?
So basically,
I probably missed that.
Yeah, I know. This is a good question. So let's go and look at our integrations. Okay. So we have integrated BigCommerce for that product information, and we have Cloudinary as a specific integration as well, and Contentful for the hero. And so basically, there's nothing specific in this Cloudinary configuration here for this shoppable video thing. This is literally just my global image options, the cloud name, and my API key, so I can actually use the widgets. This is kind of what this thing is. And so this shoppable video is something I just made in code. And so we do have a component here, shoppable video, which has a Cloudinary video prop, right? So it has some specific settings just for this one. So this is now added to the video. But because it's a video, I don't need responsive image widths and stuff like that. But when you go to, for example, one of these chapters that have a little image, this one has a product, but also a Cloudinary product image. And that one might have some responsiveness, so I can, add a source set. And so this is not specific to Cloudinary. It's something I like to do. So with this information, I can actually now render it in my front end. And so let me show you what it looks like when you have something like this whole thing worked out, right? When we look at the source here, is that big enough? Yeah, I think so. We can see it. So basically, okay, we don't have to look at the hero for now. That's not what it's about. So we actually, this is the image for the hero. Okay, here we go. So this is our shoppable video. Let me just zoom that in a little bit more. So inside we have chapters. And this chapter has a slot for hotspots. And so these are just those X, Y, URL, the timestamp, stuff like that. And you can see for BigCommerce, we just got the product ID. And for Cloudinary, we've got a little bit more, Because I decided when I built that Cloudinary integration that we wanted a little bit more here. We wanted width and height and what format it is, the public ID, because this I'll have to give to the Cloudinary video player. Otherwise, it doesn't know what to render.
Yeah.
Right? So there's a bunch of stuff that our how do you say, like our mesh integration for Cloudinary always adds. And you have some global options that I like personally. And look, these widths, this doesn't come from Cloudinary itself. I added that in myself. So now when I go to the front and I get this object, I can actually render a source set and a whole bunch of other stuff. And let me see if there's some chat going on. Now we're good. So basically, I think now that we know how this is set up, you see there's the seek in video or go to product kind of stuff. There's a whole bunch of JSON that we now have to make into something that becomes a video. A shoppable video, that is, because this is a specific thing in Cloudinary, right? So when we look at my code here, and now we go deep, I am actually a Vue.js dude. This is my base, but I need to learn React, and I need to learn Next. So this is a Next project. And as you can see here, I had to use React 17 and not 18 because the Cloudinary player said no. And I also had to, I had a lot of issues figuring out what version of the player to use. And in the end, I used my Cloudinary context and we figured it out, which is really cool. So it works pretty well now. So I have some Contentful stuff. I have some BigCommerce stuff. I have some, like, there's not that many packages going on here. So when we look at my app is just same out of the box stuff that Next gives you. So this is quite bare bones. What I did is, this is kind of close to how you would do our tutorial on Next.js and at Uniform. And I can put that here. Let me see. I'll put a URL to the docs actually here on the screen. I have to make the banner. Oops. This one. So all of what I'm doing here, you can find that there. It's really easy. Let's hide that again. Okay, so basically in my get static props, I make a uniform canvas client with a bunch of environment variables. How all that works, you can find the docs and there's a bunch of tutorials on that. And so what I do, remember I made my composition called landing, right? That's the URL. So I query that composition and I get this data. But if I just get this composition data, it basically looks like this. Right, this is a bit too zoomed in here. So there's not that much to it, right? There's just the BigCommerce is just the ID. And for Cloudinary, it's a whole bunch of stuff, but it's not actually an image tag, or actually it's not even close to looking what we need for this video player here. So the first step is to get all that data and enhance it with our enhancer middleware. Once that is in, I can then push that to the components and do all the other stuff that we need. And so basically, we have this enhancer stuff that I import here. And so the enhancers start here. So we make enhancers. This is enhancer builder comes from Uniform. And so for the parameter type, that is BigCommerce, I'm just going to use the BigCommerce enhancer to query that data for me from BigCommerce. And then I have another enhancer that cleans that data up. So I like the data that I get to use as props. And I do the same stuff for Contentful, and I also do it for Cloudinary. And so let's quickly have a look at that BigCommerce enhancer. I literally put everything in one file here. That just makes it easier for now. So my BigCommerce enhancer has a client that is a BigCommerce client, which I make here. Literally, it's all one file, right? Quick demo, 1 hour of work. So I connect to BigCommerce. And then I make an enhancer so Uniform SDK knows what to query when it finds the product ID. So that's BigCommerce. And then I also have this model cleaner. So when we go there, I get the parameter with all the information. And from that value, you have lots of stuff. But I only need these things. I didn't need the image, for example. And I even loaded there. I don't even have to. I don't want the image. So from all the stuff that I get from BigCommerce, I only return these things, nothing else. I might not even need these in this case because you don't see them in the shoppable video.
So you take the data from Uniform, you query to get it, to enhance it, then you then clean it up to get basic fields you need. Yeah.
Exactly. And so that's what's so strong about our enhancers, because for every parameter type that is BigCommerce, I'm just going to compose the data I want. So I'm going to get the BigCommerce enhancer, which gives me all the information about that product. And then I clean it up. And that's what's going to my composition, to my components. I do the same stuff for Contentful. Contentful is a little bit simpler. I make a Contentful client from their NPM package. I make the enhancer, giving it my client. And then when I clean that up, I basically just say, give me only the fields that come back, rather than all the sys stuff that you also get in these API responses. So this one it's a very simple cleanup, but it really helps us. And then for Cloudinary, we don't have an official enhancer. So I just made my own stuff, right? When you look at this enhancer here, basically, this one is a little bit more complicated. So I get that whole JSON object, right, that we just looked at, this stuff. And with that, what I do, I extract the cloud name from the URL, because I don't have that actually in this JSON. Well, I have it, it's here. At one point, I might upgrade our mesh integration so you get more, right?
Yeah.
And then I just return a bunch of stuff that I can use, right? I'm concatenating something, like I have some base options, Q auto, F auto. I just replace the version that you have in this URL here. Where is that? This version, I have that. So I just replace it with some options. So then I have a base URL. And if I have some transformations added, I add the transformations to it. And then if I have something like widths specified, which is 300, 500 here, I create a source set, which is kind of just a bunch of smart concatenation to make an image tag source set attribute. And so my enhancer just gives me very easy stuff. So if I now wanted to add an image, I just have image tag, source set. I just got it from here, alt and stuff, and run. And so that's really nice. And if it's video, I don't do that, of course.
I see one typo, actually.
Oh, no, tell me.
Yeah, scroll down to 78. Transformed F instead of a D.
No.
So that might have been maybe something.
That's not good, man. This is my ghetto quick stuff, because transformation is spelled correct. I hope this is not in the official mesh integration. I'm going to have to check that after the stream. Because that would be kind of, Anyways, so I just wanted to show you how we enhance the data from like this relatively bare thing where we just point to sources to something we can actually use.
Yeah.
And so let's go back to that page, right? So we have the information here, and we return it as a prop to my index page. And my index page function now has this composition. And so what we actually do here, comes from the API that Uniform gives us. Right, so we have a composition with data, and the data is actually that composition that we got. So this component has all the information it needs to start rendering stuff. And we have something we call a resolve renderer, which is the following. In this case, this is a very simple one. Basically, you import all the components that you have, and you make a little mapping. And you can see this hero is a lowercase here, right? That actually matches this hero here. So when it sees in the composition, hey, there's this type hero or type shoppable video, you see how I did that? So I have a mapping from hero to the hero component I just imported here. And so basically there's a little renderer that says, okay, this is my component. Let me just have a look at the type in my mappings and return that imported component here. Yeah. Or if I don't have one, let me give you the default component that Canvas gives you, which is really nice. Just tells you, hey, there's something here, but I don't have something to render it.
Yeah.
And what that does is it tells this composition component and the slot component to then dynamically render stuff. And we have the slot component here because you see components, that's actually the slot that all this stuff lives in. So what I want to do for that slot, get all the components and render these components on the page. And that's what our slot component does for us. And there's lots of black magic behind that we don't have to go into now. But in the end, it just looks at whatever stuff matches from the composition to the components I have in my file system, and it just dynamically renders them. And of course, adds all the props that come from Uniform from my enhanced composition. And what you get then is that it renders the hero, which in this case is very simple, right? It's just, this is the stuff that comes from Contentful, and this is the Cloudinary image. That's literally just, I get my entry, which is Contentful. And from there, I have some fields that I just render in here. So this is a very simple one. But now let's go to the crux. That is the shoppable video, because this one took me quite long, actually. Longer than I anticipated. So what I do here is the video player itself does not work with SSR. Because it needs window to do stuff with the video tag, right? It's normal. And so I had to kind of dynamically load the video player, that is the shoppable video, with SSR false. And the video player itself is quite simple. I just had to use a use effect. So when the DOM is ready or when it's mounted, I just connect the Cloudinary video player to its ID and add the props that I give it from the other component. And then it just works. And there's a couple of other variables that I added, like this start state banner message that actually comes from here. And where is that? Start state, banner message, this kind of stuff. So I kind of hard coded a little bit. But then the products, that's where the magic is. So let's go to that shoppable video. And so from our component that React puts there for us, we get a lot of stuff, right? We get a parameter for the CTA, which is like that little text below the play button. And then I do a whole bunch of, let me just go over all the chapters. Let's see, where do I do that? And there should be a for loop somewhere. Yeah, or a map. So I map over all the chapters and I just, get the stuff that I need from the product. If the click action is go to product, I fill it with go to and a whole bunch of stuff specific to what Cloudinary needs, right? And if it's seek, I do something else. Then you pause it and I have to convert time durations to make sure that it works. That's like a really simple function to convert. This is Stack Overflow 101, basically. And then, yeah, that's how you do it, right? If you have not so much time. And then if there are any hotspots, I push those in as well. And then the result is kind of a whole thing here, where I have the product ID, product name, start and end time, and the public ID of the Cloudinary image, and the click actions that we filled out here. And then if there are any hotspots, I push those in as well, and that's what happens here. So this makes a whole lovely, basically, array of JSON that is kind of mapped into what this video player needs. So we can actually maybe have fun and see what that looks like. Oops. So when we go here now, so I create from our composition, this is what I created. So the cloud name, the CTA, and then the products. And of course, the video itself that has to go to the video player. That's the ID. And so here you see there's the hotspots, the on-click action with the arguments. And of course, this is not really defensive coding. I just literally ghettoed it in there, but it works, when you fill out the right things. And this whole object looks exactly like whatever they have here. And that was the goal, right?
Yeah.
Make it happen. And there you go.
Brilliant.
Did this make sense?
Yeah, this does make sense. It would be nice to see these in some sort of like package that's either helper library. Like helper functions or utility functions to implement this? Because it seems like
Oh
a
yes,
lot
you will
of
need
behind the
that.
scenes stuff you had to do to get
Honestly,
this
if
to
you look
work.
at this code, you're like, Tim, what have you been doing? What is happening?
That's
Like,
what
why?
I'm
Right?
thinking, like, to render that video, the shoppable video, I have to do all this. Thinking about my life.
Oh no, of course. But that's the interesting thing, right? Like we had a bunch of meetings with Cloudinary, and like how would we place Uniform inside the
Mhm.
Cloudinary ecosystem, and how could we work together? And they were kind of looking at it like, yeah, but are you a CMS, or like how do we integrate with you, and like what's happening here? And then I was like, yeah, but why don't I just show you that you can, as a developer, do all this fun stuff that you might not want to do. Like I kind of know how this works, so I felt like, hey, let's do some data mapping and run, right? But if you look at all this, where you can say, let's connect BigCommerce product, let's add a Cloudinary icon, without actually connecting BigCommerce and Cloudinary and Uniform and Next at all.
Yeah.
There's all loosely coupled. And
Yep.
Cloudinary plays a pretty big role in here because it also has the hero image. So there's lots of things going on here where Cloudinary fits in. And I just wanted to show this to make sure that people get it, and that we don't actually store any information, but we just point to it. And of course, what we're thinking about for the future, and I know when Alex is in the chat here, he'll know that these enhancers that I coded here, that's quite a lot of work, right? Like
Yeah.
I know how these work. I've done it many times. And when you get it, it's very easy. But this is a lot of code to get data in, to query it, to map it, and then go somewhere. And we're going to be building lots of these enhancers kind of like out of the box, and it just works, right? In the end, you would only need this little piece of code. Because my BigCommerce enhancer comes from an npm package. I push in my client and run, nothing else. Same for Contentful, same for Cloudinary, probably. Because these don't change that much, unless you want to do something yourself, right? Because what you also see sometimes is, okay, I have 25 calls to Contentful. I want to actually then make those into one call. So I want to batch them. And we have properties in our enhancer to do that, but then you'd have to code it yourself a little. So over time, as we do more and more integrations, we'll just kind of out of the box these things. And then suddenly you don't need all this stuff. But the beauty of it is you can use all this stuff and you can literally do what the heck you want. Because here I have this BigCommerce stuff, and then later on, I'm mapping this BigCommerce to another place, right? Here, this one. I could do another Ajax call here to go to Cloudinary, get some stuff, and then push that in here as an image.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Suddenly, I chose to do that. So I am in charge of my own data model.
Yeah,
That's
that's nice.
really interesting, right? And lots of companies have a storybook full of information, full of components. They don't want to change the props, right? Let's say you have a style guide. So you can use these enhancers to completely change the props so they actually work to these components that already exist.
Yeah, good point.
And that then suddenly you basically what this means is Uniform is extremely flexible, but you kind of have to understand all that flexibility to use it like a master. And so we will have to go into a way of saying, this is how we want you to do it. Done. Don't touch it again. Right. And so this you likely have to do once, and then you never touch it again unless you get another parameter type, right? And the other interesting bit is that this whole thing, this whole file could live in a serverless function somewhere. And then your front end has no idea what this stuff is. So you could hire an API developer who would actually build this stuff for you. You just say, I need these props. Thank you. And then it becomes very interesting, right? Because your front end doesn't need to know anything about it. The stupider your front end, the less bugs you have. That's how I tend to look at it.
This is great stuff, man.
I just built this last night and I felt like, let's talk about it.
Well, that just speaks into, I mean, I don't want to say simple. The word simple in development isn't really, but the simplicity of Uniform and how it can bring all these things in and how you can compose stuff that's not coupled, like you said, and you can do that fairly quickly. And then you think about the enhancers. Well, if you already have your enhancers built, that's a lot of your work that's taken away, right?
Oh yeah, sure. And we actually have agencies now that have a bunch of enhancers that they have pre-built that they like, and they just use Uniform for every project, put in the enhancers, and they win like 100 hours per project.
It's brilliant.
Because they no longer have to connect to all these things in their front end.
Well, then you have your developers like presenting with your marketers with like, okay, here are the components, right? We've already built your components out. We've already got everything you need. You just go in and compose the page.
Exactly.
Cool.
That's the way to go. And in the future, there are so many other possibilities with this, with maybe prototyping things or having a design system in place that then connects to this stuff. And right now, what you saw is a little bit not so conventional. Like maybe I can share my screen again and then show you another way of how this is used a little bit more in a conventional sense. For that, I have to go to Canary, which is where my site lives because I'm living on the edge.
Just like Aerosmith.
There we go. Exactly. Okay, let's see. So this is a little bit more conventional. So this is my own website. As you can see, there's a whole bunch of integrations here. I think there's something wrong with Sentry. That's why the page doesn't load as fast.
Yeah,
True.
currently there is.
So I have lots of things. I even have for sale integrated. So I can just open my site from that for sale item. It's very cool. You can see my build log and everything. So that's very neat. I use Contentful and Prismic. Like my blog posts come from a different place. And I have BigCommerce just because I want to show demos, right? But if this is a little bit more conventional, right? So when we go here, we go to the homepage. I'm not doing all this crazy stuff with building up hotspots and, oh boy, Sentry, are you blocking my page load now?
So what made you choose to do your blog post outside of Contentful?
I don't like their rich text editing.
Interesting. So you just that goes to show you how powerful it is. You said, you know what? I don't want to use Contentful. I want to use Prismic for my blog post. And it's like, all right, cool. We'll bring that in.
And you know, it's actually worse. I actually, when you go to Contentful, my blog posts are there, but it doesn't have the rich text. It's only the metadata. And then the rich text is actually in Prismic because I used to have everything in Prismic. Then I migrated everything to Contentful for my new website. And then I realized it's really kind of shitty. Like, this is my opinion. This is not Uniform's opinion. Where if you get the rich text data from Contentful, you have to have a package to morph it from JSON to HTML.
Yes, I dealt with that.
And that works pretty well, but their opinion on it, I don't like the semantics of the HTML. They put p tags around everything. I have to rip it out. It's really hard. I just don't like it personally. And then when you look at the one that Prismic comes with, it works really well. It's a very similar approach, but much more standards driven. And I just like web standards.
Yeah.
So what I have
that's what's great. You made that decision on the fly, and it didn't affect
no problem at all
or anything. Yeah, you just integrated Prismic. That's great.
And I do some crazy stuff, right? I load through Contentful. I load my blog post, and then in my enhancer, I go to Prismic, and I get the rich text, and I push it in.
Nice.
That's why you have enhancers. If I now want to get that in the end from Contentful because the import is done, I just remove that little enhancer and suddenly Prismic is gone, right? It's very interesting.
Yeah.
So this is a little bit more average, right? On my page itself, I have an entry for OG tags. Let's see if I'm logged in. Would be nice if I had prepared this, but we're on the fly now. So basically,
on the edge, man. So
on the fly, on the edge.
So this is my page metadata. So I have a title, description, OG image, publication, and like if it's a video, I add some like microdata and stuff. So I put that on the top of my page. And then I have a header with a whole bunch of navigation items. So I can choose from here what these are, and I literally just go to a URL. It's very simple. Then I have a hero. And this one is actually very similar to what you just saw in the other demo. I took it from here, basically. And then I have something like video highlights that has not that much. And inside there's a couple of videos. So when you have a look at the preview here, let's see if this is going to work. And just put them side by side. Here, so we have the video highlights. It's this component, right? And inside there's a featured video and 2 like normal videos. So I have a slot for featured and 2 normal ones. And what the beauty is of uniform here is that I choose in uniform the fact that the video is featured, like the variant is big.
Yeah.
And also that my background is light. If I make this dark and I hit save, I'm not sure if the preview is currently working based on how slow this is. It should show up at one point, but this, I think Sentry is giving us a bit of issues here. Whoa.
But the point is you're doing your presentation within uniform.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is not, oh, there you go. So it refreshed now, and this is now dark. But my CMS should have no knowledge of the fact that something is light or dark. My CMS should have domain data, the video itself. But the fact that my video here now is big, that doesn't exist in my CMS at all. It's only in uniform.
Yeah.
And so this shows, this is a little bit more of a conventional way of how to use uniform, where the data of how something is rendered is in uniform. Like I have small left, right? I just make small right here, hit save. Yeah, this is constantly waiting for that. So what you'll see once this is loaded and I hit save, you'll see that changed here, but my CMS has no idea about that. Okay, so
there's no longer are you putting a checkbox in your CMS that says featured.
Exactly. And let me just put this back before I destroy my website. And so this is a little bit more of a normal approach to it. And if I wanted to have something like products, I could do that here. And here I say, again, I have something light. And the title for products is connected to my homepage here. So that shouldn't come from some CMS because this copy will probably be personalized or different every time, right?
Yeah, and this is where that's sort of where the confusion comes in. Where like, are you a CMS? Is uniform a CMS or not? You know, and it's
you know what?
CMS
in the wrong hands, we can be, but let's not do it.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't want to hold that data.
Yeah.
We only want to have compositional data, right? Okay, so
I have to drop off now. I've got like a meeting I need to jump right into. But this was fun. I guess I'll
thank you
watch
so much
the
for
rest of
joining.
it.
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
Good to see you, William. Next
All
time.
right.
Cheers, dude. See you next time.
Yeah.
And so here are our products. And so this, as an experience for me, I didn't know what BigCommerce is. I just select something and it just works. That's a very nice thing to be doing, right?
So
and then you could also personalize it and go full force ahead. And this is how this was built. And so I kind of almost misused this with my Cloudinary thing just now. But maybe it's not misused. Maybe this is just one of the many ways we can use this stuff, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, maybe a marketer or just wants to do shoppable video component, right? And just wants to put it.
Honestly, if I go back to my career at agency, working with all these luxury brands, all of them wanted this.
Oh yeah.
We've built this from scratch also quite often for fashion shows, where we had it at the fashion show. That was kind of insane, where a model would walk and there was a big screen behind her that we built from like 100 LCD screens back then. And then we had like tooltips follow her while she walked.
Wow.
Live. And then that would show what it was. But that was kind of a one-off, like 3 months of no sleep, going to New York, installing everything. It was insane.
Yeah.
But all of these brands want this kind of stuff, like hotspots on products and things. And now Cloudinary did that.
Yeah.
But if you don't have a nice way of integrating it, nobody's going to use it. And this is a really nice way of integrating it.
Totally. That's what I was going to say is like you could just use uniform. You could use uniform just for that if you wanted to, right? You could just say, you know, we're going to incrementally adopt this just for this Cloudinary video example we're showing, and we're going to pop that into our little section of our page. You know, it's pretty powerful, you know? So like the incremental adoption where like someone might say, you know, well, we just want to do this type of component and start there.
Yep. And yeah, that's what makes it really solid, because you can also do, and this was kind of like that, right? What you can do is have a uniform composition like this one. Let me just show that again, like this one. And imagine here you want this shoppable video, but you don't have any sort of information here about it. Or let's say here you want to have ratings and reviews or some third-party component. You can actually make a composition that's relatively empty. Like I have one here. I can actually show you, like my video page. This is a composition that has nothing in it. Okay, let's load. It just has some components without fields, right?
Mhm.
Video hero with nothing.
Yep.
Video page with nothing. And this only tells my front end, here I want to see this. That's it. And then the front end says, oh, let me just grab that third-party component and plug that in here because that's what I want to see here.
Got
So
it.
you don't even need to connect everything in uniform. You can just say, this is the composition. That's it.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's
And
super
what
cool.
I actually built for this one, when I now go to one of these video pages, you see how to buy gear in 2020, and then like I can go to another one. That's this composition filled by my enhancers.
Yeah. So break down real quick, like while you're in this composition on the left, break down how it translates to the
Okay,
right.
we're gonna go deep now. We have 4 minutes left to the end of the sprint. Let's go into it.
Yeah.
I'm ready. So basically what I've built is this. I have a compositions app separately running.
Gotcha. Yep.
And so if I go to the single video composition or URL anyways, endpoint, it finds my video composition that is empty, right? It's these three things.
Yep.
Or actually the header slot is not empty, but the rest is empty.
Yeah.
And so what I then do is for each of these components, actually I should not close that, I should close this. You see, I have that video page hero, which is basically this guy. Video, or like, sorry, I have to go here. It's the title and the breadcrumb and the tags.
Mm-hmm.
And let me just slide that a little bit bigger so I don't have that CSS issue. There we go. I like it more now.
Yep.
It's making my eyes tear up if
And
that doesn't work well.
That is in uniform, like that.
Yeah, so basically, no, this is interesting, right? This information is in Contentful. But the fact that it's here is in uniform. So the video page hero component is empty in uniform, right?
Gotcha.
And you can see there's no parameters here at all, but you see it on the page. So what I do is I go to my enhancers, I query this URL here and give it the slug that I got from here. That's this slug. So let me just get this actual thing here on the screen. Wow, my internet is slow today. There we go. Okay, so basically, you see hero, title, how to buy gear for content creation. That's this guy. That's the tags. And so what I do with my enhancer, I actually find that component, and rather than adding it into parameters, I add a data enhancer. So I query Contentful, I get the right data for that component that I want to see and add a data property here. And then my front end, rather than looking at properties for parameters, it gets the parameters from the data prop and then just puts it in. Because the next one is actually the video itself. No parameters, where you normally would have parameters. No, I added data. And so here I have the video data prop with the slug, the title, publication date, poster, video ID, right? It's a YouTube clip. So this component, I don't want you to play. Okay, thanks. And like then the next one is related videos. That's what we saw in the composition as well. Again, empty, but I add data to it. And here I just query, I think I might have queried Algolia or something or some other system to match these tags to related videos because they're all like career driven, I think, something like that, or personal. That's these things. And so you can have an empty composition and have smart enhancers and just fill it up and have a dynamic page here. But this is quite deep. Like we need to find a standard way to do this in uniform, and this is one of the ways.
Great stuff, man.
Like if you have a platform like this that has no opinion, you can do anything you want. You can go completely crazy, and that makes it a lot of fun.
Yes, for sure, man. I've been thinking about building my site in uniform like you do. Right now, it's just remixed and deployed to Netlify, but I'm like, I'd love to get into
remix. That's kind of a fun one.
Yeah,
That's
but I can
cool.
imagine you learn a lot. You've learned a ton just by building your site in Uniform. You know what
You
I
know
mean?
what's the fun bit? I found things that I needed, told the product guys, and we got it.
Nice.
I actually defined like a lot of features of Contentful, for example, how to query Contentful
Yeah.
that we didn't have before. And I said, hey, I want to just choose and pick 3 things, or I want to search for something, or I just only want to check one of them, stuff like that. And
That's so cool.
I was like patient 0, kind of trying this stuff out.
For sure.
And there
man.
you go. And this is the result. And it made me learn React, for example. That's new to me, right? So there's lots of things that it makes you learn, and you get to learn the product from the inside out, because as a DevRel or a demo engineer like you, we kind of need to know the ins and outs
Yep.
to be able to talk about it like this and do these crazy ideas like a shoppable video.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
cool,
there you
man.
go. So we
Love it.
reached the hour quite quickly. I like it.
Good first stream.
Yeah. Is there anything you wanted to share about what you're doing, or what people should watch next time, or anything?
No, we just this is just a kind of starter, get started stream, getting to bring it back, and we got some ideas on different things to do, and William is going to come in and help us, so it should be pretty fun, and we got a lot of things a lot of ideas we could pursue, in terms of content and how to do this. But I'm glad we got to jump on this first one.
Exactly. I'm excited. So thank you very much, Seth.
Yes,
And
thank you, Tim.
thank you for everybody for watching, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.